Hi everybody, I am working on Steampunk hat number 2 for our new business, Gaslight Dreams. And I've decided I wanted to try a different shape to this hat. And so I wanted to use fabric that I would be okay with having to throw away if it didn't work out. So what I did was, this is Steampunk hat number 1. If you've seen the other videos, you know what I'm talking about. Now this was the McCall's pattern, and I don't have the number in front of me, but that would be on the other video. So this is McCall's pattern. What I was not in love with about this hat, and for all I know, it'll sell like a hotcake, and I'll end up making more. But for my eye, I was not in love with how tall this hat is. Now I made it work by then, using that space to emphasize this flower lace that I put over the burgundy ultra suede. This pattern also, the front of the hat is higher than the back of the hat. And for my perfectionist eye, it kind of looks like a mistake. That's just me. Somebody else, I showed this to Carol's daughter and she said it's perfect. And that's the way they're supposed to look. So we'll see. But at any rate, that was my thinking in trying an experiment, taking that original McCall's pattern and making a shorter crown on a hat. Now this one is, I took the McCall's pieces, the brims are the same. I cut the crown 1.5 inches shorter, and then through a lot of experimenting I ended up having to make the circle for the top bigger by a little. I'm not good at the math. It's like, if this is this much bigger, how much should the circumference change? I had no idea where to start. So I just started cutting out pieces and trying it out, taking it apart and putting it back together, just experimenting. I'm actually happy with it, and I changed, let me turn it this way so you can see the back. I changed the shape so that it is not really any bigger in the front than it is in the back. My first thought when I first made it was to make it into a kind of a cowboy hat. Maybe even tack up the sides and go with a cowboy look. I may still do that at some point. But when I went to Joann's and started looking at ribbons and things, and what can I do with this burgundy besides burgundy and black? I didn't want, another burgundy and black hat. So I looked and looked and looked and looked. I swear they send security people after me, like she must be stealing things in the aisles, she's there for so long. I ended up thinking that the peacock feathers were great. It gave some contrast and something besides the black. I spent a ton of time messing around with feathers. I learned on YouTube how to curl feathers. So these, I think they call them Coke feathers. But they're like a trimmed feather, but they're straight when you get them. As you see, I left these, I wanted the height, so I left these basically the same. I give them a little bit of curl. But then you can really curl these. So these, I think, are grouse feathers, and put them behind the peacock, and then added the top curlicue feathers. And I'll fuss with it. I've been messing around with it so the feathers aren't exactly perfect, but I wanted them to curl over the top of the hat. So there'd be some visual interest with the feathers from any angle. So that's what I did there. This headband I made just from some of the edge of the fabric of this black lace has a section on the edge of the fabric that is just straight satin. So that's what I used for the hat band. And I ended up deciding to put it up a little bit higher, which shows down here. That won't show because of what else I'm going to do with it. Now what I'm thinking about doing, I decided I was going to try tulle with this one and give it a tulle veil in the back. And looking at the tulle at the fabric store, it's kind of hard to see it on my tablecloth here, but I found a burgundy This burgundy is almost a cranberry that matched it beautifully. And this is a more expensive tool. It's very silky. It's just lovely stuff. Really hangs nicely. But I thought, you know what? Too much red. So I thought, well, what do we do in bringing out that peacock color without making it look like a Christmas carol, you know? Anyway, looking through the tool aisle, I found this tool that is just a beautiful, really deep, dark forest blue green. It's a forest green, but with some blue to it. And I thought, man, that just looks like the peacock. And then, in dinking around, like I spent hours doing this kind of stuff, I ended up putting the green-blue tool on top of the red tool, and if you twist it around, you get this really pretty effect that brings out the burgundy as well as the peacock that I wanted. So at this point, what I'm thinking about doing is somehow putting some of this around the brim, maybe even a face, a blusher, you know, where there's a veil that comes down the front. I may do that. And then definitely we'll probably create some kind of a flower in the back with the tool so that you can, you know, see the subtle green, green-blue with the red, and then a veil hanging down in the back. So this is the plan for Steampunk Hat number 2. We'll see how it goes. I also may add some bling. When I was thinking cowboy, I saw this heart and I thought, oh, that's perfect for a little cowboy hat. I'm not sure it's going to work on this one. I like it. It's got kind of a vintage look to it, and yet it's not real silver, which I think is a good thing because it won't tarnish. But I'm not quite sure if it's going to look too much like, hey, they put a button on the hat. So we'll see. They had a sale on this, this like steampunk, other embellishments at the store. So I went ahead and picked up a couple because they were on sale. One is a really pretty swallow, and then one is a bee, which I thought was kind of cool. And they're a brass look, which would match, you know, the gold or the brassy color in the peacock feather. So it may end up with a bee on the front, and I may decide just that it does not need any more bling at all, and just go with the tool around the front and then in the back. So that is my process. That's where we're at for now. And like I showed in an earlier video, you can really mangle these to get them into the shape that you want. Normally with felt you can steam it and shape it, but the fabrics I'm working with are not felt, and I don't want anything weird to happen to the fabric, so I'm not going to be steaming them, but I think I can shape it into a nice shape. And it has not been lined yet. I will be lining it with the same ultra suede as I did with the other hat, but I believe it's going to be different enough that when you see these, you're not going to go, hey, somebody else has my hat, which is one of my promises, is that you will never see anyone wearing your hat when you buy one from Gaslight Dreams, one of Karen's creations. So this is the process. This is number 2. We're going to go with the peacock effect with this blue, green, and red tool and see what happens. That's it for now. Have a good day. Bye-bye.